All right, guys, this is Giuseppe at Boomtown. I'm going to give it a second here and let people pop in. And again, you should see my screen. I'm going to keep talking as people are starting to roll in. And let me know if you're having any issues. You can use the chat or the questions tab within Zoom. As you log into the Zoom webinar, again, you'll see your command center kind of at the bottom there. You'll be able to, again, chat us, ask questions throughout the webinar. And Jonathan, I just got your test. Received. Okay, thank you for that. And again, I'm going to give it a few more minutes here, guys. This will all be recorded. We will send out the deck after if you missed anything or if any of your team members missed the webinar as well. If I don't get to your questions right away, what we're going to do for the end of each segment with the two guests is we're going to go over all the questions together. So again, feel free to write them out, but we'll probably go through them if we miss them during the webinar. If there's any questions we do miss, we'll email you. I get all those questions, so I'll be able to email you and find you through your registration, and we'll make sure that you get anything answered. All right, give it another minute here. All right, great. We'll get started. Again, thanks for joining. This is Giuseppe Marzelli at Boomtown. If you did register for this, or if any of your team members registered, you will get the recording and the deck distributed after the webinar. Feel free to ask questions throughout the webinar. Within your Zoom panel, you'll have a chat and the questions tab. Again, as I just mentioned, if we miss anything, we'll go through that at the end, or we'll contact you after. And if you have any connection issues, just chat us. If I have a connection issue, if I drop off, the webinar will still go on. You guys can make fun of me while I'm gone, but Zoom is pretty reliable in that case, so we'll keep it moving. Today we have a really exciting webinar. We have two awesome groups, two really good products, and I have guests from each side. We have Vivid, which is basically a POS, a light smart terminal, and a light POS. It's actually going to be available on AEVI soon, and AEVI, the new smart terminal that's kind of hit the marketplace here in North America, which is really exciting because all of the features across both products, can really help you guys sell to a whole bunch of different verticals, a whole bunch of types of restaurants, QSR, FSR, actually go after quick service, go after multi-location chains. Vivid, the software is actually going to be on AEVI hardware soon. And so I'm really excited to introduce these individuals, really excited to talk about the programs that we have in the future ahead of how you can get started. With Vivid, you can get started right away. With AEVI, we're basically going to start taking some pilot resellers, and we'll go through that in detail today. But there's a lot of great opportunity. Both organizations work with Boomtown. We provide support services. For AEVI, we'll be providing a reseller program. If some of you are in our smart terminal reseller program, you'll be able to do that through AEVI. With Vivid, we do the field services and remote support for their team. So again, we're all very much integrated. And the reason I'm really excited again about this is that, a lot of ISOs and banks come to Boomtown. They're saying, what's the hottest product in the marketplace today? How do I keep up with competitors? How do I go against, Toast, Square, PayPal, Upserve, Lightspeed, all these different groups? And, finally, we have some really good answers for you guys. And so there's a lot we can do with these groups. They have great ecosystems. They work with great partners, great integrations, and we'll get started here with Vivid. So Derek and Justine, thanks for joining today. I'm going to have Derek, the president, speak with us here and tell us a little bit about Vivid. And what we'll do is we'll go into a demo with Justine. The demo will be a little bit shorter than a full demo. If you guys want a full demo, you can reach out to them, but we wanted to just keep it super high level today because we want to get through both products and make sure that we answer all your questions. So Derek, thanks so much for joining us, and really excited to hear more about the Vivid products.
Perfect. Thanks, Joey, for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and we're really excited to introduce Vivid POS to the people here. So I think for a quick agenda, I'm just going to run through a little bit of background about who Vivid is, why we started Vivid POS. I'll go into a little bit of details about the product offerings that we have, some of the key features that we find are kind of our competitive edge. And then, as Joey mentioned, I'm going to have Justine run through a high-level demo, and then we'll finish it off with just kind of like what the next steps for you guys would be and how to get started. So as a background about Vivid, like many of you here today, we started in the payment space as an ISO. We always focused on technology and solution first in our conversations, with an emphasis on point of sale, smart terminals, gateways, etc. Over time, we really just kind of saw that race to the bottom mentality with Interchange Plus, and how software companies were launching their own payment divisions and starting to gobble up that space. So we started to lose market share and starting to compete with our own partners, and we just needed to put a stop to it. So we really wanted to launch our own product offerings that we could make our own, be closer to the merchant, and kind of have that direct relationship there. And so that's kind of at a high level why we started Vivid POS, and we wanted to really have that competitive edge to compete with some of these software platforms out there today. Some of those big names, i.e. Toast, Upserve, and Square. Upserve was kind of a funny story, and I don't think we're alone in this situation. We were a reseller of Breadcrumb back in the day before it became Upserve, and we would refer merchants over to them. It was a really good restaurant point of sale for us to be able to compete with Toast. Then they started soliciting our own merchants, the very same merchants that we had referred over to them. And so they would start taking them not only for software, but payments as well. And so we really needed Vivid POS to kind of enter that market and kind of have, again, that direct relationship with the merchants, keep them sticky, not only on the payments, but with the software as well. And I mentioned before, just losing market share to our own partners was just not fun. Like in certain circumstances, we would recommend a software, that we would install, and maybe they would go around and like find them on the internet and just go with them direct. And so we were just tired of kind of competing with our own partners. So and another kind of main focus was because of the pain that we had to go through of all this and like competing with our own people. We wanted to create this solution not only for ourselves, but for organizations similar to us. We feel the pain that you've gone through, and we just want to be able to create a safe haven for all of us collectively to compete in this space, and obviously, offer great solutions to our merchants.
And Derek, one question. I know that a lot of groups here have gone through, reselling Clover, Talic, and maybe like eHop, or all these different types of POS. What really keeps, what stands Vivid POS apart from a lot of the agnostic smart terminals or, light POS that you've seen out in the marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is just the features. It's a full platform. It's got everything, and we'll jump into that in a little bit. But the amount of features that are built in natively to the software is more than I've seen with any other platform. And then obviously alongside with Boomtown support, we've got a really great network of support technicians in place, as well as field services as well. So we really want to capture not only like a great technology, but a great service to go along with it. So providing that whole package for everyone.
And so Derek, you're on different hardware today. I know you're on iOS, Android. You're going to be on the AV terminal. You're on PAX, I believe, for your terminal and your light version. So guys, as you're looking at this marketplace, the benefit of Vivid is that you really can go to market with any size merchant. Retail, there might be some limitations on like inventory management, but they have memberships and recurring, payments. They have pre-authorization for QSR. We're going to go deep into those details of why it actually works for full service restaurant. But for your average small to medium, you're pretty well taken care of with the terminal and light. For the POS, you can actually compete. And I can say this for, I can imagine you can actually compete with Toast, Upserve, in intensive, full service environment. They're working with multi-location chains. They're working with a bunch of high-end restaurants that Derek, services in San Francisco, in New York as well. Those are two hot spots for them right now. So here's kind of your product line. Derek, anything you want to talk about with this hardware?
Yeah, our ultimate goal was to provide a scaling suite of solutions so that we can capture really multiple industries and merchant sizes. So, starting here on the left, we have as simple as a smart terminal app, and the kind of key value there is being able to do non-cash adjustment surcharging on there really, really seamlessly. And then we have that middle tier of POS Lite, which will compete with the Clovers, and you'll have really a full suite of POS solution features, but just kind of in a small, compact kind of form factor. And some of these, I'll get into hardware in a second, but then we scale into the full point of sale, and that's really going to be for your multi-station or multi-location restaurant groups that really need a lot of horsepower and larger screens and all that. And then enterprise, we can handle, like I said, multi-location groups really, really easily with our advanced reporting and back office control. But to your point, yeah, so we are fairly hardware agnostic. We wanted to be able to offer multiple partners, just in case, everyone has their preferences on, iOS versus Android and all that. And then, in today's world with our supply chain issues and chip shortages, we really wanted to expand the offerings, just in case, one point of failure came through. We didn't want that to drag down everything. So to name a few hardware partners, PAX, Point is releasing very soon. We have a new one, hardware partner called AMP, and then iOS and Android both.
And then guys, reach out to Derek for the costs. The hardware costs are going to be pretty, typical for what you see with TPG or, POS Portal, iPads. Everything is pretty straightforward. They don't mark it up, so you can kind of get it on your own. Same with the terminals. And then for the software, Derek, you have everything from like a $15 a month wholesale license fee for the terminal to $50 a month for the POS. And then what's like a multi-location kind of look like? Is it 50 per terminal, or like a good restaurant with 3 stations? What does that typically look like from a software perspective?
Yeah, so our typical pricing for the full point of sale, we'll start at $99 for the very first license, and then as they add on additional license, the license cost drops to 50 per. And then we will usually put in a cap too. So if it's like 10 stations, we'll typically cap it at that from a cost perspective. So if you have more, we'll cap it at 10.
Okay, perfect. So full POS starts at 99, maybe 50 per after. Either way, you can negotiate with Vivid directly. They'll work with you on pricing. Those terminals, the light version is a lot less expensive too if you want to just get merchants up and running. Of course, Derek said that they started as a payment company. They have their own payment rails. That's helpful if you're an agent that just needs a provider. But all of you who are bringing your own payments, Derek, you can do TSYS, and I think I saw First Data Omaha or I think it was North. Do you know which other?
Yes, so TSYS and First Data, I think it's Omaha, and then we will soon have WorldPay and Elevon as well.
Okay, great. So you're going to be pretty well. Yeah. I believe that if you have TSYS now, a lot of you do. That's the easiest way to market with them, is bring your TSYS bar sheets. First Data is always a little bit complicated just from a support perspective because they always like to close off communication to everybody. But yeah, I would stick with TSYS to start, and then like you said, you're going to bring on those other stuff. But these key features here, this is why you're different. This is why I was excited to bring you on here. These are the features that really everyone says, oh, we're good for full service restaurant. That's just not the case. I've worked with all different POS, Clover, all these different groups. They really can't service full service restaurants unless that full service restaurant is willing to take a huge gap in the suite of features from what they're looking for today, especially as the pandemic hit. People are doing order ahead, QR, pay the table. But yeah, let's walk through some of these features, these key features that are helping you guys stand out.
Sure. So to kind of go through the list here, online mobile ordering is definitely a really prevalent thing in today's restaurant needs. So totally natively built in. The e-commerce platform connects directly with the back office, so everything is seamlessly connected, and you really can sell the restaurant on owning the online ordering experience, as opposed to farming it out to the delivery apps, which will then take a good portion of their margin there. So this is a great way for them to own their mobile and online ordering experience. QR codes is definitely another trend that we've been seeing. especially like, maybe putting a QR code on the table, you scan the QR code, will actually bring up the online ordering site. The customers could then order and pay directly from their phone without even touching anything else, even menus and whatnot. And then that order can go directly to the kitchen, and the kitchen will know exactly, because of that QR code was scanned, they actually know what table that order is assigned to. So it's a really great contactless experience to be able to offer to restaurants. Also, order and pay at the table is another trend. It helps cut down on, or it speeds up table turn and just cuts down on labor costs and just walking around there. So you'll see an image here on the right. That's actually kind of our iPad setup. So it's an iPad and a vault stand with a MagTech card reader built in. But we also offer a lot of those handheld devices like the PAX terminals that you'll be able to run the full software on. So you can actually place orders on those ones as well. Another big thing that is getting a lot of traction is these delivery app integrators. So we have the ability to take in pretty much any third-party delivery app there on the market, like Uber Eats, Grubhub, and whatnot, and actually bring the orders directly into the point of sale. And instead of having 3 or 4 very different iPads crowded around your countertop. What's pretty neat too is it also syncs the other way too. So for example, menu updates and pricing and inventory levels. If you make a change on the point of sale, it's actually going to spit that change out automatically to every single delivery app that you are up to offer. So now you don't have to go into each one individually and mark something as out of stock or change a price on it. So that's definitely an important one nowadays. We also have things like reservations built in. You'll be able to manage reservations, but also put a little widget onto the merchant's website where customers can reserve right then and there. It does save also a lot of cost there because if you're familiar with OpenTable, they actually charge an arm and a leg just to make reservations. So that's something that more and more restaurants are starting to pick up on. Pre-authorization is another one. Basically for bar tabs, we have the ability to quickly run bar pre-auths. It pulls the name from the customer as soon as you put the card in there. So you'll instantly, it's a really quick way to set up, to set up a bar and bar tabs. And then I mentioned earlier, flexible hardware. So we just really wanted to approach the market with many options, just so that you're not pigeonholed into one particular piece of hardware.
And I just got a question on the hardware again. I know you guys work with PAX. There is a white label version, guys, but you can negotiate directly with Vivid. They can talk about that. There are some pretty heavy costs for white label because you're basically getting everything white labeled. But obviously, still a tenth of what it would cost to build it yourself. So all those are, very, very available to speak with Derek about. Derek, I know that you've done really well with restaurants. I've actually been seeing all your work orders come in and we're doing all the installs for you. Guys, what's really neat about Vivid is they take it really seriously, the install, because a lot of ISOs try to force full on POS and it just never works. So their team is really good at sales support because they can actually help do like a site survey, but also do a really good scope of like what the merchant needs before they try to sell everything that you see here. Derek, you've done good with full service restaurant. You said you're going to start doing wine clubs and like wineries because they need like a membership feature. I heard you guys were building that. Any other kind of verticals you're going after right now?
That's pretty much, I would say the membership component also can expand into private clubs and whatnot. So yacht clubs or members clubs where, where the customers, maybe they can come in and they can scan a QR code and it pulls them up, their whole profile. So pretty much anything within the hospitality space, we're really trying to go after. I think, at some point we may want to make some integrations with, hotels and whatnot, but yeah, restaurants, wineries, breweries, and kind of like a member clubs, I think would be our main focus. Obviously retail, we can handle no problem with the inventory controls and barcode scanning and whatnot. So those, would be our core industries.
Okay, perfect. So guys, what we're going to do, you can reach out and you can do a full demo. Justine's great at this. She's awesome doing demos with merchants. And I'm going to pass over the capabilities to her right now. Give me 1 second. Justine, see if you can start sharing. Let me know if you can start. If not, I'm going to see if I can get you what you need here.
No, it says another participant is sharing.
Okay, great. Let me see this. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to send it over to you. And guys, I did get a question about loyalty. Derek, do you can you speak to loyalty at all?
Yes, we do have a loyalty program built in natively, and you can kind of like customize all the functionality you want, but mainly it's a point-based system, so you can specify how many points equals whatever, and so yeah, there is one built in, and you can customize how it works.
Okay, great. That's perfect. So I just answered that for the person who wrote that in. So Justine, let's do about, if we can keep it under 10 minutes, let's just do some high level just to show them what the software looks like. I know you and Derek went through a few different things you want to show, and then we can jump into the AV product.
Yeah, sure. You can see my login screen, yes?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, so hi everyone. Thank you for having me here today. Like Joey said, I'm going to just do a quick once over. Feel free to, I'll be happy to book a demo with you if you have a merchant, if you just want to see it for yourself. There's tons of things to go through. It can be, somewhat time consuming, so I'm just going to do a very quick overview. So here you'll see your login screen. We do have a clock in and clock out functionality that communicates with time management reporting on the back end. We do have an option for QR code login also. It's a sort of higher level of security for managers or admins that you can utilize as well. So we'll just clock in here. We'll get started with the main dining room. This is totally customizable for what your floor layout looks like. And you can land on any one of these screens. So a lot of it is very customizable based upon your business. If you see along the bottom here, we have our other service stations, something like the bar. We can get started with and show you that you can pre-auth a bar tab. This is a great function. It will pre-auth your card for 1 cent, and then you can hand the credit card back to your customer. This is a great way for bars to function without having to hold cards behind the bar. You can also utilize this starting a tab on a table. So you can utilize this for table service as well. We also then have to-go delivery. The delivery function will pull from your customer database with a phone number. That way you can easily start the order and have all the information populate from your CRM. And then I know we touched on quickly the integrations with third-party applications. So those will populate right here on your service stations right along the bottom here, and you'll be able to see any orders that populate through there. It just streamlines everything all together. These items also will show in your reporting, which is awesome. So you can really see what these third parties are really bringing in for you. And you can compare them back all under one report in the back end. So just going to starting a table, we have the option for choosing number of guests. This also then reads with positioning. If this is something that you could utilize in your business, allows you to split the check very easily with position. It also allows food runners to know sort of who got what at the table. So we'll just quickly choose 2. So you can see this is what our ordering screen looks like. In the middle here is our categories, and then the items that are associated with those categories live on the right-hand side. We can pull from our customer database to associate a customer with this ticket. This is a great option for like the loyalty program we just were discussing. You'd obviously want to have your customer associated with the ticket there so they can build those points. So we could just touch on a couple things here just to get ourselves a ticket going. I want to show you some things that we have that are modifiers associated with particular items and also particular categories. Allows you to be very specific in the way that the items are laid out and in the way that your customers are ordering. We obviously have to then choose certain things. These items can also have a price association. So if you see I add chicken, that adds $3 to the ticket. Something like dressing we can choose, but does not have a dollar association unless we choose light, extra, or on the side. So there's tons of options, tons of customizable ways that you can lay out your tickets in your menu. Another cool feature that we have here, for instance, at the bar, if you see those numbers across the top there, you can choose on one of those numbers and then choose the item, and it will populate that many of that item. So if you see that 7 blue moons. So for a quick moving bar, it allows you to just type in with only 1 hit instead of having to hit blue moon 7 times. And then if you choose it again, it will just make that number 8. So that's a really great way to move through for a bar order. We also have this cool function in the bar where if you hold touch on the item, you get this pop-up that gives you a description. So this is a really cool feature for maybe training in the bar or having somebody back there that's not back there all the time. It also allows you to set the count or choose something as out of stock really quick right there in the POS. Once you're ready to send, you have a couple options to sending to the bar. We have a cool feature that allows you to hold and send. You can select certain items that you want to hold. Maybe you want to send through your appetizers first, hold your entrees. You can do that all in one shot and never have to have the further action of coming back and sending them through. You'll give it a time frame and it'll automatically send. We also have the option of splitting the check that I know a lot of restaurants do all the time. We have tons of ways that you can split and very easily just split things up. Even if we just choose split evenly over 3 checks, it'll just split it right up evenly into 3 checks. Somebody wants to split their card 3 ways, allows you to do that very easily. And then you can merge them back together if you need to. So that is the gist of the ordering. I just want to show you some other options within.
And you guys can do pizzas too, because I know pizzas is complicated with POS. You can split it up and say, basically pepperoni on half, pineapple on the other half. Would piss off my wife, but you can do that all.
Yep, we have tons of options for modifying in something like a pizza. Left half, you can choose certain things. Right half, you can choose others. And the system will actually recognize if you choose something on left and right and make it a whole topping with the whole price value.
Yeah, guys, and really what to concentrate on there is that's so cool. The tab where they were showing like the DoorDash delivery, like Uber Eats orders, like that's actually something that a lot of POS just don't have at all. So those pre-built integrations, just have it all on one screen. If you go into a restaurant in San Francisco, they have like 17 tablets of like, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Caviar, all the different ones. So the fact that it all goes in the same screen is huge. That's great. Anything else, guys, top of mind we want to show in the last few minutes here? Anything that would, stands out to a lot of your customers as you're speaking with them? Or Derek, anything top of mind for you?
Definitely those, I'm sorry, Joey, definitely those third-party integrations, and the fact that they communicate with the reporting also is important, I think, so that you can really see, those numbers all together. We've gotten tons of compliments on our reporting. It's really very easy to read and really gets rid of all the fluff. It gives you the numbers that you need. And I think that that's really important for business owners to be able to, access that anywhere and in real time and be able to see those numbers and make those associations with where you're generating the revenue from.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Justine. That's great. And I just got a question about cash discount. Yes, you guys have cash discount options.
Yes.
If you have to bring your own processing, please know your own rails of where cash discount, stands. And then they can help. You can work through Vivid on that as well. You guys have a great knowledge base, great videos that you can send to the merchants. Again, Justine is awesome at demos with restaurants. So if you need someone to do a demo, work with the Vivid team directly. They will set it up, and they're kicking ass on sales. I haven't seen one demo that hasn't turned into a sale. And then I'm just going to go through a few more questions right now. Do all the POS hardware show the same software capabilities? So does all the hardware that we've talked about show the same software capabilities? So basically the smart terminals are going to show the terminal and the POS Lite version. And then the full POS will probably have to be on a full, like an ELO kind of station, a iOS or an Android device that has the full screen. So full POS will be on, again, iPad or Android screen. I know like Advanced Mobile Payments has an actual hardware option for all 3. So it just depends on the hardware you're working with. And someone says a built-in time card. Derek, where do you guys stand? I know you're doing an integration with Homebase, but where do you guys stand with just basic time card, clock in, clock out for right now?
Yep. So we do have that built in today as far as having your staff clock in, clock out. We have your staffing reports, and you can apply, hourly wages and whatnot. So we can give you all the reports. We need to take it to the final step, which is to integrate into payroll, and that's currently in the works right now.
Okay, got it. And then someone asked about breweries. Do you properly code the bottle and can deposit costs? I'm not exactly sure what you're saying there, guys. Maybe are you talking about the inventory items and seeing how much are there and how much are left? But feel free to reach out to us directly with that question so we can dive into a little bit more. And then no, there is no Windows version today, guys. I think we're going to stick away from Windows. We'll probably work with just Android devices and iOS today. I think that's what, Derek, you were telling me. So guys, that's it for all the questions. before we move on to over to AV, Derek, Justine, thanks so much. I'm really excited to get these groups in front of you. You guys have an incredible product. I'm actually, for the first time, excited about a POS product that we're working with because we don't just set up restaurants and they're like, this has nothing that we need. So it's really exciting to, actually have something available specifically to ISOs and banks. And then again, they do have white label options. You can negotiate directly with them on their software pricing. They'll have a few different ways of working the pricing with you. So nothing's set in stone. Yeah, feel free to reach out to their team. And Derek, did I have your contact information on here? Just put it in the chat if you don't mind. And we'll move over to
Sure thing.
So Derek, thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
Thank you for
And
mine in the
Justine,
chat
thank you.
also, and that way anyone can book with me if they would like a live demo. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move over to AEVI. So we have Alex and Jeremy. You guys, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfect.
Yep.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you great.
Very good.
So what we're going to do, I have your deck on here. I can just say next slide if you want me to move forward, or we can move over to your screen. Up to you guys.
No, you can go ahead and move it for us. I think that works well.
Okay, great. Well, thanks
All
for
right.
joining today. We'd love to get a quick introduction of you both.
Yeah, definitely. Just really quick, my name's Jeremy Merrick. I've been in payments for a few years now, mainly in the smart POS area, Android terminals and platforms. I also run partnerships for AEVI for North America, mainly with the ISVs and the partnership specifically with Boomtown.
Hey everyone, Alex Benjamin here over at AEVI. Been in the payment space for about 14 years now. Been with AEVI for about 3, focusing mostly on our smart POS proposition and supporting pre-sales in North America.
All right, great. And I've known both these guys for a long time. I'm really excited about this product, guys, because mostly actually just, not just is it a nice terminal that's sitting right here on my desk right now, and it's like robust. It has a lot of great capabilities, but your team is just also wonderful to work with. And that just goes a long way in payments sometimes. So walk us through AEVI, walk us through what we're working with.
Definitely. And I want to thank everyone for attending, and I'm looking forward to working with Derek and Justine. Very good demo. Looking forward to having that on the AEVI's platform very soon. Just to cover a little bit about what we're talking about here is simplifying face-to-face payments. And what is that? That's an all-in-one, easy to use, smart POS system. It's the AEVI starter pack. This is our first launch, and it will be managed by Boomtown. So the support is the look and the feel of Boomtown. They'll be able to help you out with it. We can white label it, so it's a full white label offering. Joey, go ahead and go to the next slide. All right. A lot of people would ask, who is AEVI? This is an older slide. It's mainly, we'll be adding a new slide once we make our revenues and everything public. That's going to take place over the next few weeks. This shows us as a global company. We have offices, starting with Germany, Prague, in the Czech Republic, UK, and the US. We have revenues that are more than 30 million a year. We have just under 250 employees, and we have global clients all over the world. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So this shows a little bit of our history. We've been around for quite a long time. We started off around 2013 as Wincor Nixdorf, as you know today as Diebold Nixdorf. We were built within and rolled out as their cashless payment business unit. With that being said, we built a platform and we had our first launch, which was the Albert in Australia, which is the first smart terminal to hit the market. From there, we started building and getting more capital, expanded to the US, and with that, we started launching with key customers around the world. As we started to move towards a bigger platform that's more robust, we really targeted and focused custom payment solutions for banks and acquirers. So a lot of our builds were specifically for them. And as we started to move forward, we saw the niche of getting really into a offering that would be subscription based for the ISOs and ISVs, and also for the agents. With that, we did take investment last year from MasterCard, but it's different than this solution that we're talking about today. Go ahead and go to
That's
the
a good
next.
background, Jeremy. And just to kind of give everyone a perspective, our identity is generally a white label technology driven company that provides payment processing and solutions to global banks and acquirers all around the world. So we might not be kind of that household name, mostly by design, but there's a good chance that you guys have seen some of our products out in the wild with us helping facilitate and enable those solutions in the back end. So we're really excited about kind of introducing a productized version of our platform here in the US market. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yep. So we do have a platform, and a lot of people have come to us and asked us more for a solution. You know, you've heard from everyone, the Clover Killer, all these different things. It comes down to the problem that we're trying to solve. So when you have your device, you want to make sure that it's up to date, it's provisioned properly, you have the right support, you have the right security, everything's all wrapped into a single device. So this is the foundation of what we've built and what we're launching within the next few weeks. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And this is where we have the plug and play starter pack. So what we're introducing here, and we'll go really deep into it into the next slides, it is processed through TSYS. So if you do process with TSYS, it's perfect for you. We're agnostic. We will be adding additional partners, but this is going to be further down the line. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So this shows the starter pack, what's included in it. You got a 7-inch XAC device. This will be fulfilled by TPG. So the pricing that you get through TPG, the good news with them is if you work with them in the past, you know, they'll fulfill anything from 1 terminal to thousands, depending on what your rollouts look like. We do have a payment app that's our own, that's built in. And then we have an open platform that allows you, we don't have an app store, but we have the ability to add different apps to our store or to our terminal and our platform. And the first rollout will be with a register by SmartVolution. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So this shows a little bit deeper into the starter pack. It's pretty much three things added into it. It is a 7-inch screen, the terminal. It's really good. It has the right weight. It's very compact. It does have a decent battery life. I think it's about 10 hours within 300 transactions. When you go into the payment app, it's our gateway, fully functional. It's plug and play. Right when you take it out, it's able to do your transactions. It is designed specifically for the small businesses, your restaurant, retail, and it's on Class B on Sierra. A little bit about the app itself. It's through Register. It's lightweight POS. You have the ability to upsell it, but at this point, it's just the light that's coming out, and it's really cost effective and it's really easy to use.
And Jeremy, is that available in the North America today?
It
When
is.
this goes live?
When it goes live, that's going to be the product that's built into it. And then we're looking at additional ISV products to launch with it. And
So the payment app is really just a terminal app. The POS app, the register, is obviously a little bit more versatile in POS capabilities, right?
Correct. Alex, do you want to touch base on that, or do you want to get into it in the next 3 slides?
Yeah. So AEVI as kind of the payments technology company behind this solution, you know, we've built the payment app in-house, so there's no relying on third-party hardware manufacturers. It's on our platform. And then the POS app is simply kind of the user interface that we've packaged up to make the entire product, you know, fit for purpose for that sort of entry-level solution in the market. So although those two sort of solutions work together with each other, they're each kind of their own components on the product that we're putting out in the market, which allows future clients to kind of create their own proposition based on how they want to go to market, whether it's with this POS application or third-party POS applications. The one thing to remember about AEVI, and sometimes it gets confusing, is we are not a POS company, we are a platform company. So as far as sort of, you know, our market positioning and how we have sort of created this product is that, you know, we want to provide smart POS capabilities to the ISO and agent market, and we've made it easy for you guys to get going with our starter pack solution, which is being promoted by Boomtown today.
And with the payment app and the POS app, are merchants using this hardware and these apps outside the US today? Or is this brand new, in starting in North America?
So this particular hardware it's a first to be certified in the US, but we work with a number of different hardware manufacturers in the global market, whether it's in South America, the European market. We've loaded our Smart POS software onto their solutions and essentially enabled AV-like products so that they can go to market with their own Clover-like solutions. So
yeah, perfect. And that was my question. I mean, just showing that it's obviously not your first rodeo with getting these devices new. This is not a first-time company. You guys have, put out these types of devices in the marketplaces all over the world. Obviously now focused on this new hardware in with the TSYS Class B in the US.
Exactly. And just one quick thing to note, as far as XAC, it might not be familiar sort of in the North American market, but XAC, if you guys don't know, they're the brand behind the First Data F-150s, and they're one of the largest manufacturers in the world. We've particularly chosen to work with them because, like Joey had mentioned, the form factor is really nice. They have a nice open ecosystem for us to work with the components on the hardware. And better yet, if a customer wants to sort of evolve their proposition and really market it, brand it, they have pretty flexible options as far as white labeling the actual hardware. So the key thing to remember is flexibility, white labeled solutions, and really kind of endless propositions. That's sort of what AV is looking to make in this market as far as an impression.
All right, good for me to go to the next slide.
Yeah, go for it.
Just a little bit more.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, please.
Yeah, so just to kind of go into some details on the XAC device. Obviously, it's a 7-inch Smart POS terminal. It's really slick as far as the in-person experience. We chose this particular because the screen's big enough where you can run a nice little POS application on it, where it provides a good experience without sort of limited capabilities of that typical 5-inch screen that you have out in the market, but also has that mobility factor where if you have to move the terminal around the place of business, use it at a food truck, it's easily moved around. It has a cradle capabilities and all kind of your standard Android-based solutions as far as being PCI level of 5 certified and an extended battery life that makes a lot of sense for your entry-level merchant.
It also feels good. It's durable. I noticed that when you guys shipped one of the terminals. It's just I like that it just feels like it's not cheap. It just feels like it's actually a nice terminal. So that's a big upgrade from a lot of smart terminals I've seen. I just feel a lot. I'd feel a lot more confident with it as a merchant. Just the look and feel.
That's great. Yeah, the first impression that we've gotten from a lot of demo units that we've sent out in the market is they just like the way it feels in their hands. It's a quality piece of equipment, and one of the reasons why we've kind of chosen them as a strategic partner to launch on the TSYS platform. You can go ahead on the next slide, Joey. So, like highlighted on a previous slide, the payment application was built by AV. We own the management of this application, all the features and functionality. When we were going to market and going through the certification process, we essentially we didn't leave anything on the table because we had the responsibility of making sure that we went to market with a robust payment application that meets the needs of the market in the US, specifically the ISO market, where things like surcharge capabilities, cash discount, where typically in like the Clover ecosystem, these third-party applications are upcharges, additional costs. We've actually built this natively within the application so that merchants can take advantage of it, within the same experience without having to use a third-party solution. So outside of, all the standard, refund, credit authorization, pre-auth, things like that, surcharge and cash discount are also available natively in the payment application, which has really resonated with a lot of potential customers out there.
Which is the first I told you guys this too, is the first smart terminal that actually has true surcharge Everyone just uses
Right.
cash discount and calls it surcharge, which I don't know. I'm not going to be here to tell you which way or wrong, but you actually have true surcharge here, which is pretty great.
Exactly. You can go to the next slide, Joey. So at a high level, the POS application was built really as the graduation from that EFT terminal to a smart POS device, in the sense that, you know, we wanted to put something in the merchant's hands that provide a more streamlined operation within their business. They can, you know, manage their inventory and keep things really just stupid simple, right? And so this Smart Volution application was chosen for the specific purpose. It has very flexible white label capabilities, where in the back end where the Smart Volution portal exists, if you're an ISO, you can really easily change the color schemes of the buttons. You can upload your logo. There's no extra charge for it. And it's just really super user friendly in that regards. So all of sort of the basic POS functionality that you're looking for is, you know, naturally occurring in this application. You know, the one thing that, you know, this isn't positioned for, which doesn't necessarily compete with, you know, the Vivid presentation, which was absolutely great, is, you know, this isn't a hospitality driven application. We're not looking to kind of provide merchants with table service capabilities. What we're looking to do is position it where, you know, there are better solutions out there to manage your business. Instead of taking sort of that big leap and setting up, you know, multiple stations, we want to give you a device that, you know, provides that sort of, you know, impact in your place of business and just makes your life a little bit easier. So that's really kind of the nexus and the identity of what this POS application does. It has upgraded versions as well, but what we've productized in the US market today, what we've made available through Boomtown, is a super lightweight functionality that pretty much any user can, take advantage of and use quickly. When you power on the application, there's actually kind of a how-to demo embedded into the actual suite of applications. So it's designed to, make it as easy as possible for your merchants to get activated in processing their payments while still providing that upgraded experience.
Great, guys. Yeah, and I think one of the things that attracted me to AV really early on was that you have a smart, like you just said, you have a smart terminal that's reliable. You have a terminal app and a POS option that can work for most SMB out the gate, and unless they're looking for X, Y, and Z features that might be a little bit more focused around their vertical. But a lot of ISOs and banks, they're really good at pushing terminals, right? So this is just a really good now smart terminal that you can rely on. As people have known, we work with many smart terminals in the past, and it's just sometimes like you can't rely on it so much. It feels like there's so much politics in place. You guys are already a big established company. You're not here to go and change your script or what you're trying to accomplish in the next 10 years. So this is already an established company, guys. They have great products, and that's just a huge piece that I wanted to bring them into our reseller channel, because again, something that's just reliable, that you can sell with confidence, and that's going to go obviously a long way.
And so just to sort of reiterate the positioning for this product is, entry-level SMB micro merchants. We want to give you the ability to compete with the Square-like solutions with your traditional EFT products. As everyone knows, software is eating payments. And so this is sort of that next step in the transition. And we've sort of, positioned this particularly for that, reason to kind of upgrade your classic terminal to your smart POS device.
And it's not only the MPOS and the classic terminals that we'd be replacing, specifically when you're looking at food trucks and other small businesses. If they do have another Android type terminal that they're looking to swap out, we don't go after customers. We don't have payments built in. It's under your brand. We can white label it as well. So with that being said, it can easily swap out another smart POS if you were unhappy with what you currently have.
That's a really good point. The one thing that, our identity is we are not a payments company. We will never be a payments company. Our gateway doesn't take transaction fees or anything like that. We are a technology company in the payment space, helping people enable them kind of to create their own smart POS proposition. So we're on that kind of build versus buy landscape where people are using our solutions to go to market on a specific way, and this particular product is a version of that smart POS solution. And then as far as collateral goes, we understand, in conjunction with Joey and Boomtown, that in order to sort of market these products, you have to be able to kind of convey the message, leave the leave behinds. We have a nice, array of white labeled collateral that you guys can add your own logos. We don't want to be the star of the show. You guys are the star of the show. We, understand the effort that you put into engaging these merchants. So we have a bunch of customized marketing material that really highlights some of the features that it offers. Always open to kind of changing this material based on specific needs. This is sort of just, the framework that we've created for these different micro merchant verticals so that you can easily kind of talk about and articulate the solution without a lot of heavy lifting on your end.
Yeah, guys, a good time to talk about a little bit real quickly about the reseller program. So a lot of you are in it that I see on this, on this webinar today. If you're not in the reseller program, the way that Boomtown set it up is it's for ISOs and banks that want to sell smart terminal solutions, but don't want to pay heavy minimums. And they want, sales support, merchant support right out the gate, right? So with Boomtown, you basically sign up as a sub reseller. We give you all the access to board your own merchants. We give you access to even support your merchants if you want to support them directly, but we give you a 24/7 support team, which is great. Obviously that you can focus on sales. We do sales trainings with you. And, AV is something that I've been working with their team for a while because I wanted to bring it in here as I had mentioned, the many reasons of why it'd be super helpful. But I know that a lot of our partners were looking for not just a reliable terminal, but a terminal that had that surcharge cash discount option, had a little bit more flexibility on the POS features, and something that they could really start selling this next year. Again, with that full confidence. So reach out to me if you want to get started with AV. We're probably about another month or so. We're gonna start piloting. So if you have pilot merchants or you want to start kind of just getting involved, I'm very happy to help you get started, and then we can kind of take it from there.
This is great.
And so questions for us, I'm going to go through a few questions for you guys. I'm seeing some in the chat. I don't know if we can, and guys, if we can't answer all of them right now, feel free to email us. And I'm going to put my email in the chat right now, just so everybody has that. Joey is my nickname I go by. So feel free to email me there, joey@goboomtown.com. So TPG is going to have your hardware in stock.
They have it in stock now.
They do? Okay. And with cellular providers, does it work with 4G, 5G?
It's a 4G, but it's a good question. I think the question was around whether it was AT&T and Verizon, et cetera. I know that there's challenge with other smart terminals on this. I will get the exact carrier specific answer for you. But I think it's the standard where it would handle the top three.
And guys, I said something about a protective sleeve. I don't think you really need one. You can probably get a screen protector, but it's a really durable terminal. I mean that compared to other tablets and things I've held. There's a 7-inch screen, so I'm sure you can find a screen protector, even on Amazon if you want to get that. But the actual terminal itself is pretty durable. I saw that question come through. And can we do EBT and cash discount on the same MID? I don't know. Do you guys know that answer for TSYS?
Yeah.
You can? Okay.
You can do that. We've done a full EBT certification. So, how you want to present the EBT option, we just have to kind of work through those details to make sure that it's presented in the right way. But as far as certifying the payment application and making that functionality available, that is definitely available.
Do you guys have any price points for the hardware right now?
No. So, the one thing we're not hardware resellers. So you guys would contact TPG with, your interest in this, and they'll provide you guys the appropriate information. And then
guys, for software, it's very comparable to like Point, Swipe Symbol, like other smart terminals you've seen, or Clover Flex from a software perspective. But again, it comes with cash discount. It comes with surcharge. You're not paying additional for that. So reach out to me. I'll get you the reseller pricing and how we're doing that. But that's, again, what is comparable to today. Again, I just think a little bit, better of an experience, considering that we have Boomtown, the 24/7 support. We can white label those support for you, depending on the size and the partnership we do with you. as I mentioned, the AV team is great to work with. They've opened up communication lines with us, have done trainings with us. And I feel like in the past, a lot of smart terminal providers we work with are not as communicative. So that's one thing I said in the beginning. They're super excited to work with their team because it just feels like a good partnership altogether. Why would I work with Boomtown and not go to AV Direct? You can always go to AV Direct and work with them directly. We just help you get started at a lower minimum and those services right out the gate. AV will have different options for you to be an ISV with them. They'll build onto their terminal. They may have heavier minimums in the case you want to buy bulk or you want to sell. But we work as a partnership. So again, we're not taking any business from each other. AV's leaning on Boomtown to really help with a lot of the small, medium ISOs, and even sometimes the large ones that want, activation training services, remote support out the gate, and they don't have to go build that internally themselves, which I've done it. It's expensive if you want to build in onshore support. So we already have all of that set up. Jeremy just put his email in the chat. I put my email in the chat. Again, just to answer, Stephen, to answer your question, hardware comes from TVG, the price points, and then you can reach out to me for the software.
Yeah, the price points, Joey, it's roughly about 350 around there. And you get your specific quote from TVG. So depending on your partnership with them is what your discount would be, but it does come directly from XAC to TVG. So their agreement on their pricing is with them.
Perfect. And we'll build a program on this, guys. So I'm going to start building a sales knowledge base. So like I have with other smart terminals, as new features or new apps come on board, they don't have like an app market, which I actually respect. It's not like go in there and pick your own apps, which nobody does. Nobody just buys a terminal and I'm going to download and pay for more apps. You usually have to sell what, upfront, what you're giving to that merchant. So as new POS apps or new apps come on board, we'll talk about it with the network. We'll tell you guys kind of what's there. But again, right out the gate with their terminal and their POS app, you kind of have everything you need to get going. So I think that's really, great. And we already have some resellers, basically starting to pilot this. And I did get another question on true surcharge versus cash discount. Can you guys explain that a little bit further? So Alex, do you want to explain it? I can explain it and maybe sound like a fool, but up to you.
Yeah, so I'll touch upon it real quickly. I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but
please don't.
Essentially from a surcharge perspective, we're able to kind of identify it by the BIN number, right, to make sure that that particular card qualifies for that surcharge. So obviously, if you are paying with a debit card, the surcharge functionality from a payment application perspective, it's not going to work. And from a cash discount perspective, that is more the merchant's responsibility to enable the cash discount, but that is based natively kind of in the POS interface. When the merchant goes ahead and checks out that particular customer, they can add the cash discount at the point of transaction so that it is a seamless experience for everyone. Obviously, all sort of rules and regulations apply. Some of the ownership is on the merchant to make sure that person is paying in that particular way. There's only so much we can do, but we've set them up for success by providing the proper framework to execute those two functionalities within the application.
Thank you. That was perfect. That was a perfect answer. I would have sounded like a fool compared to what you just said. So guys, we're at the top of the hour. So thanks so much. Again, feel free to email me your questions, joey@goboomtown.com. I've put them in the chat. I'm going to keep on for a little bit so you have that. Joanne just asked, what's the cost of the terminal? Again, it's probably going to be around the 350 mark for the hardware. So reach out to TPG and they can, work with you based on your relationship. And then you can yell at Jeremy if it's more expensive than that.
Exactly. and feel free. And I work really well with Joey. They are our go-to-market partner. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Once we have everything up and running, I can also help out with customer demos, those type of things, just to assist Joey and his team. But you have my email.
All right, guys, additional questions, reach out. I can't thank the Vivid team and the AV team enough. That was a great webinar. Really excited for both products at the marketplace. I will help you get started with both these products if you need to. So guys, thanks again. And I will send everybody a recording and a deck who registered. We'll get that email out this evening. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.